You turn my mourning into dancing. You turn my mourning into dancing. 'Cause your love changes everything. Your love changes everything. Oh, there's something about your love. Something about your love changes everything in my body. Oh, something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. It changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. It changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. You turn my mourning into dancing. 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 Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything.
Good morning, Rooted Men. Pastor Tom, Firmly Rooted Ministries. Happy Thursday morning. Looks like we might have the sun out again. That's good. We're live everywhere that we're supposed to be live. That's good. I see some of you climbing on board, and that's good. So great. We're going to be looking at Judges chapter 4, and I think we're coming across our first female judge, Deborah. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But let's say hi to a few people. Let's see. I'm in there. Chuck B. Shalom, gentlemen. Ken Gooch. Good morning, fellow brothers in arms. Brian Vlaming. Good morning, men. I'm out there on X. Good morning, Rooted Men. Chris Connolly. Morning. My cousin, Dave Donnelly. Good morning. Guys, also prayers for the devastating event of the helicopter and the plane crash over the Potomac. Man, so many weird things have happened over that Potomac. But at any rate, so just, prayers as they try to seek to find out what in the world happened between that plane and that helicopter. So, prayers are on. All right, let's get to Judges. Let's see, add to stage. There we go. And the people of Israel, again, did what was evil in the sight of the Lord after Ehud died. Not a surprise. They get a judge, everything's going pretty well, and then all of a sudden, they just kind of drift off into their old patterns, old behaviors, and the Lord sold them into the hands of Jabin, king of Canaan, who reigned in Hazar. Whoa, the Lord sold them. The Lord just, I mean, you want to talk about like lifting up your divine protection off of them, right? He just kind of lifted it up and gave this Canaanite king free reign over Israel. Jabin, the king of Canaan, who reigned in Hazar, the commander in his army of Sisera, who lived in Harosheth Hagoyim. Harosheth Hagoyim. That's one of those weird names. Then the people of Israel cried out to the Lord for help, for that king had 900 chariots of iron, and he oppressed the people of Israel cruelly for what? How many years? 20. I think last time it was 18. It is utterly amazing to me that it takes them 20 years to say they've had enough and turn to God. 20, not 20 minutes, not 20 hours, not 20 days, 20 months, 20 years. And God's right there. He's proven himself to be there. He's rescued them already with other judges. Now, Deborah was a prophetess, the wife of, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, Lapidoth, I think, was judging Israel at that time. She used to sit under the palm of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in the hill country of Ephraim, and the people of Israel came up to her for judgment. So when you talk about her being a judge, this is like that true prophetic judge that would sit and have the wisdom and discernment to be able to judge conflicts between your people, judge situations. So she is a prophetess. She is specifically given the spiritual gift of wisdom and discernment. And so people come to her for her decision making. She sent and summoned Barak, the son of Abinoam, from Kadesh Naphtali, and said to him, has not the Lord, the God of Israel, commanded you, go gather your men at Mount Tabor, taking 10,000 from the people of Naphtali and the people of Zebulun? Whoa, what did she just say? Has not the Lord, the God of Israel, commanded you? Sounds like she knows that God has communicated with him and he is not responding. The God of the universe, has not the Lord, the God of Israel, commanded you? Whoa. There might be some hesitancy here. I'm reading into it a little bit, but it's kind of interesting, right? Has not the Lord. It's like she's kickstarting him, like starting the engine, saying, let's go. Go gather your men at Mount Tabor, taking 10,000 from the people of Naphtali and Zebulun, and I will draw out of Caesarea the general of Jabin's army to meet you by the river Kishon with his chariots and his troops. So she seems to be like commanding, saying to one commander, you go do this, and I'm going to talk to this other commander, and he's going to join you. And she's like, they're relying on her for her wisdom. Does that make sense? For her wisdom and discernment. And I will give him into your hands. Barak said to her, interesting, if you go with me, I will go. There's the proof of the hesitancy. But if you will not go with me, I will not go. Now, this could be because he deeply relies on her wisdom and discernment. I don't know. He certainly isn't trusting in his own ability and his own calling by God to go. For some reason, God telling him that he should do something wasn't enough. And so now he's wanting this human support. And she says to him, I will surely go with you. Nevertheless, the road on which you are going will not lead to your glory, for the Lord will let Sisera into the hands of a woman. She's telling him, we have promised victory. But if your insecurities are forcing you to take me with you, I'm going to end up getting the glory for this. I'm not asking for it, but it's going to happen that way. You're robbing yourself of the glory you could have because you don't want to step out in faith and do what God's telling you to do. It's kind of like when Moses didn't want to go and God allowed for Aaron to be his second man. So Deborah arose and went with Barak to Kadesh, and Barak called out Zebulun and Naphtali to Kadesh, and 10,000 men went up at the heels of Deborah, at his heels, and Deborah went with him. Now Heber, the Kenite, had separated from the Kenites and the descendants of Hobab, the father-in-law of Moses, and had pitched his tent as far away as in the oaks of Zenanim, which is near Kadesh. When Sisera was told that Barak, the son of Abinoam, had gone up to Mount Tabor, Sisera called out to all his chariots, 900 chariots of iron, and all the men who were with him, from Harosheth Hagoyim to the river Kishon. And Deborah said to Barak, up, for this is the day in which the Lord has given Sisera into your hands. Let's go. Does not the Lord go out before you? So Barak went down from Mount Tabor with 10,000 men following him, and the Lord routed Sisera and all his chariots and all his army before Barak by the edge of the sword. And Sisera got down from his chariot and fled away on foot. Barak pursued the chariots and the army of Harosheth Hagoyim, and all the army of Sisera fell by the edge of the sword. Not a man was left. So the theme is the same. But I want you to realize just the human side of this. Instead of 18 years, now it's 20 years. The speed by which they're deciding to make a difference, crying out to God, it's like they're waiting till the last breath, like when there is absolutely no hope, right? That's not faith. It's desperation. It's like being in the boat, right? And you're asking yourself, why are you guys bailing water, fearing for your life when Jesus is asleep right behind you? Like, go wake him up. Why do we do this? Why do we kind of look out at the world and say, well, this is just the way it's going to be, so I guess I'll just bear up and I'll just deal with it, and forget about the God of the universe who's in charge and is waiting for his faithful people to communicate and talk with him. It's unlike Moses, who would constantly go ask God, what should we do? What should we do? Joshua, should we go to war? Should we not go to war? Should we go to war? Should we not go to war? What's lacking here is any kind of human movement towards God. Hey, God, until they're at their loss, until they're at their wits' end, and finally they begin to call on God. Gentlemen, our call on God should be daily. First, gratitude. Always gratitude. Gratitude that he has redeemed, saved us, set us free. Gratitude that he is our Savior and Lord. Gratitude that he dwells with us. Gratitude that he's for us and not against us. Our whole lives should be an expression of gratitude. But in times of trouble, we're not called to fight the winds and the waves, to try to stop them, to try to control them, to try to make sure that I'm going to make sure what the outcome is. We fall on our face and we call on God, who loves us, and ask him to intervene in our lives, knowing that he can make all things work to the good for those who love him. The judges are difficult for me because the life that they're living, in a lot of ways, shadows or echoes parts of my life in the past. My lack of reliance on God, my reliance on my own will and my own desires, allowing days, weeks, and months of yucky stuff to be happening before I would even call on him. Enough. We got to just dump that whole cycle off the cliff, and we got to start a new cycle where we're calling on God daily and throughout the day. All right, I'll leave it at that. Hey, Eric, good to have you on board. All right, everybody, blessings on your day. Make it a firmly rooted day, and may someone see Jesus in us today. Peace.